I just want to wake up every day, throw a leg over my scoot, and ride.
American Roadrunner. American Roadrunner.
On-road or off-road, wrencher, rider, racer, or just a weekend warrior, this is the show for you.
You found us, my fellows. Welcome to the American Roadrunner podcast. And now, your host, Bob Marshall.
She was my friend. She was an inspiration to me and my race team. She was an inspiration to us all. She was a friend to us all. I need to preface this show with a story. For me, it was less than a year ago at the Born Free pre-party over at Cook's Corner where I got a chance to catch up with my friend and fellow racer, Jessi Combs. Lucky for me at the time, she introduced me to her boyfriend Terry. I'd heard a lot of good things through mutual friends about Terry, so it was great to finally put a face to the name. We got to run into each other several times that weekend as we discussed my upcoming race against our friend Chopper Charlie. I remember her shooting a short video of me on her phone about my plans to kick Charlie's arse in this upcoming race. For the record, Charlie kicked my arse and then some. It was great to get to know and hang out with Terry a bit, and yes, chat with Jessi about her up-and-coming run in the North American Eagle. For myself, being a fellow land speed racer, it was very exciting stuff in our world of speed. But then, everything changed. I don't pretend to have any understanding of what Terry has been through in the last few months since the accident that took Jessi away from us. I can tell you that for myself, sitting down for this chat with Terry was really great for my healing road, and I'm sure it will be for you, my fellow listener. Terry is a man with a great sense of self and greater sense of his current situation that he's been thrust into against his will. I can tell you that I just don't know how he's doing it, but doing it, whatever it may be in this situation, is what he's doing, and doing it greatly. It was all a reminder for me what a fan of this man and his mission I am, and will continue to be in the future. This chit-chat of ours did not come easy. Terry's been so busy with all the racing and the new foundation, that is the Jessi Combs Foundation, work that he's been doing, and oh yeah, his new shop, their shop, the business venture HIRoAD. When I first approached Terry about doing this show with me, his response was gracious, as someone had just handed him my book. After a quick phone chat, we both agreed that this is the definition of serendipity. After 50 or so gracious text messages back and forth, we had this date and time set. It was last Saturday. I started the day with a warrior build ride on the runway that John Oakes had invited me to. If you don't know what warrior build is, please look it up. It's a wonderful organization that Terry's a big part of, and they do some really great things for veterans down in Lake Elsinore, California, and some bitchin' racing. So after the ride, I hit the road from San Bernardino up into Yucca Valley, and I met Terry at his new shop. Now, there's a side story when I say that. This was not his new shop, that is the shop that'll be HIRoAD in the future. He basically had to move into a new temporary building until that shop was finished, but you'll hear him talk about that. And it was all full of all the Jeeps and Razors that I was used to seeing him and Jessi drive. His hospitality and friendship was just second to none. As soon as I got there, we jumped in a truck and drove to the local hardware store to score some nuts and bolts he needed for a race vehicle that he was putting back together for Baja in a few weeks. And, oh yeah, SEMA, which happened to be the next day. He was getting everything ready for transport. Again, his friendship and hospitality were second to none. This is a story. This is a story of love, loss, family, speed, inspiration, tenacity. It's about racing, moving forward, live and laugh, unexpected roads, and one man's nightmare coming true. Please note, this chit-chat and story sharing gets a little deep. If two grown men crying a bit at the same time offends you, this show is not for you. This is above all a story of love for you, my dear friend, and one of my heroes, Jessi Combs. May you forever race in peace. I give you, my fellows, Terry Madden. Terry Madden, for all the great listeners. Our roads have led us together, as my road has been fortunate enough to lead me lots of places. And that includes the stellar, recent friendship, hospitality of one Mr. Terry Madden. Thanks for sitting down with me.
Anytime. I appreciate you coming to me. Sorry I've been so frantic lately I couldn't get to you.
Such a beautiful ride through the desert. I had such a good time on that ride. It's gorgeous. What is it, 4 PM or something? I don't want to say.
This is my favorite time to ride up here. I wish I'd had time to go ride with you right now.
I know, right? Although you've got treads on that car. And that car. I'm here in Terry's shop, and there's just lines of beautiful off-road. I don't even begin to understand all the cool off-road stuff you do coming from the world of purely motorcycles like I do. I mean, land speed racing, I guess, is technically off-road, but you've gotten to do some really exciting things. It had to start somewhere, I reckon, huh? Where do you think it started?
I've been really fortunate at it. It was just playing is where it all started, and then I actually somehow ended up getting paid for it, which seems a little surreal. But no, I grew up just playing in the river in Kansas, middle of nowhere, nothing else to do. That's the place we didn't get in trouble, was to take our old Jeeps to the river, and then it ended up somehow in Mexico and Morocco and everywhere else in the world, and then actually getting paid for it.
Yeah, the Morocco theme was pretty recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was, I don't even know when. Everything's pretty scrambled right now with everything I had going on, but
I can imagine.
6-9 months ago, we went over there for that Moroccan Desert Challenge. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, that looked really... Was there a picture of you with a camel, I think I remember?
Yeah, good old Gus. I don't know if his name was Gus, but he was named Gus to me. It was a long day, a long night.
Oh, man. The sucker was huge, that's for sure.
Yeah, he wasn't very friendly either.
I can imagine.
He was actually pretty pissed off when we first made our friendship.
Yeah. Did you start off on motorcycles, though, or was it
No, we were
off-road?
running a Bowler Nemesis. It's basically a Land Rover body or shell, but it's the trophy truck of a Land Rover.
Okay.
Kind of more of a rally car, desert car, but pretty impressive car.
Yeah.
They build them. They're built over there somewhere. They're not something that's
Morocco, right?
That's prevalent here in the States, but
right.
they're a big deal over there.
That's really neat. Did it was right side drive or left side drive?
That one was left side drive. It was normal. I say normal. It's American.
You never know. And that's the funny part, I think, as Americans, we just don't get out and experience a world in ways that you have gotten to, even as of late. I know we were just talking and you mentioned you used to work in the oil fields. How'd you get out of that, working in the oil fields?
Not necessarily by choice. We got to the point here, it's been 3-4 years ago now, when oil dropped. I had a very successful business. Everything was going good, but I had very loyal, good help. Yeah. And it got down to the point where I was at core staff, and there were guys that had been with me a long time, families that I'd known and watched their kids grow up.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where there wasn't really enough work for me and them, so I could get rid of 2 or 3 or get rid of me. And I was going through the point where I'd been playing a lot racing, and I had opportunities to do it for pay. So I kind of laid myself off and came out here to let them keep running it. And just took a leave of absence and worked out really great. Then after I'd been here a while, I had no desire to go back to it.
Yucca Valley. How did that turn you on?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I got drug here. That was all Jessi. I mean, I'd raced out here a lot, King of the Hammers. I was on my way to settling in Arizona with Campbell's and working there, and I kept spending more and more and more time out here with her. She was in Long Beach, and I just couldn't do Long Beach. And
no, I don't blame you.
We looked at houses in Colorado. We looked at houses in Oregon. We looked at places all over. And she was set on up here, and I fell in love with it up here. And it's just where we ended up.
Well, I agree. I've always been a fan. Living in Riverside, I got to cruise through here a lot as a kid on the way to the river. I bet you, when I was a kid, I bet you my dad went to the river 6, 8, 10 times a year. I mean, we just jump in the motorhome. Everything was already packed. It was all canned food, and we had great times riding through here in the big motorhome. And then our motorcycles. So I agree. I've always been a big fan of the desert. I write in my book how much I feel at home in the desert, and when there's too many trees, I get a little lazy.
It's peaceful. It's quiet. I don't know what it is about it, because it's weird, because the first times I came out here for King of the Hammers, I was like, how in the hell could anyone live here? And then after you actually step back and take some time and spend some time in it, I love it. I miss green grass. We were actually going to turf the yard because I liked walking in grass in my bare feet. I miss grass. Yeah. I can do without the rest of it, but it's probably the one thing I miss is green grass.
Well, we don't have the humidity, but we definitely like the green grass. Humidity and green grass kind of go together.
We were going to do the one little spot in the yard, and that would have been my...
King of the Hammers. Can you define that for us? How you got into racing that? What it all is? What it all entails?
God, I don't know how to describe King of the Hammers. Google it. Look it up. Watch some videos. It's awesome. It's a hell of an experience. It's a hell of a challenge. First time I came out here was just with friends to watch and work pits, and then I was hooked instantly.
Right.
And it grew from there. I've raced 13 of them now. Not 13 years, but multiple classes. There's been last year I raced 3 classes. So, but it's a special race. I've raced all over the world, literally. I think 9 countries now, and King of the Hammers is the hardest off-road race. If you can succeed at it, the other stuff isn't as hard mentally. It's a mental mind fuck.
Yeah.
It's all right here in Johnson Valley.
Right, Johnson Valley.
It's coming up in February. It's something that if you haven't been out there, I would highly recommend.
Yeah.
It's grown. It's crazy. From the first years I went, and there was a few people out there standing around the fire, and now I don't know what the number was last year, but it's crazy. This year they're having 3 different big concert nights, and there'll be 100,000 people out there for a week.
Yeah. I suspect it was something you got to introduce to Jessi.
No.
Oh.
We actually met through Ultra 4.
Okay.
We met 10 years ago at the Ultra 4 Stampede in Reno in contingency, racing against each other.
That's great.
And she was just some girl in line behind me in a race car. I had no clue who she was. And we got to be friends, and we were friends for quite a while before I actually had any idea who she was.
How'd that race go? Did she win?
Levi and I got second.
Okay.
I have no idea how she did.
That's great.
I know she didn't beat us.
Perfect. So usually when you're racing these, you got 2 guys.
It depends. There's a lot of guys running single-seat cars now. But a lot of the rock racing is 2 guys because there's a lot of time out of the car, winching or changing a tire or navigating at speed.
I think navigating would be the big. You guys are all hooked to GPS, and someone's telling you go left here, go right.
I run Lead Nav, which is an iPad app, which is really impressive because you can see the terrain around you, especially in Mexico. If a line's blocked or something's wrong, you can zoom in and see what your options are at speed.
Yeah.
But as far as King of the Hammers, I've done it enough times that you know those rock trails. You get into them, and they change every year, and they change as people do it, but you got a really good feel for them.
Yeah, sure.
Baja, it's different. you're at speed or the middle of the night, you want your iPad. You never know what you're getting into. But
I can't believe how many tires, grown-ass monster tires you have in this. I mean, I've got like 20-plus motorcycles. You've got, there's like 40, 50 tires. Is this normal?
This is a small stack. There's
wow.
I should have a shipment Monday from BFG of another 20 for Baja. This is stuff I'm breaking down to get ready for Baja.
Okay.
But you go through a lot. And it's not as much as you go through that many, but say you're racing 1,000 miles across Mexico.
Yeah.
You got your 2 spares on the truck.
Sure.
And then you've got a chase truck every 100 miles or so with a couple on it. You have to have enough to scatter them everywhere you might need them. You may not use that many, but you got to have them readily available.
Yeah, way above and beyond.
You're not going around and around the same track where you stop and get them.
Right.
You're literally running 1,000 miles across the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and back.
Yeah,
right.
But it depends. They used to do every other year where they did a loop and then a peninsula. Now it's been kind of a 2-in-1 deal where they'll do 2 years a loop and 1 year a peninsula. The peninsula is a lot more expensive. You actually race from Ensenada to Cabo. It's about 1,300 miles, and the logistics are worse, and it's a harder race and way more expensive than being able to start and end at the same spot. Because then once you're down there, you're still 3 days from home. And you got to come all the way back up with all your equipment and all your gear. And all your,
Oh, wow. Well, that is really exciting, and I think there's a lot of people who just, we just have no clue. We can see it on TV. We can show up and spectate. We just have no.
And even that doesn't show it.
It just doesn't. No.
It really doesn't. I wish there was a way people could see the real. I mean, we tell everybody Mexico's terrible, so nobody will go. But I wish people could see the real back roads of Mexico, the true things that we see. Pre-running's more fun than the race. Because the race you go by it at speed. Pre-running, you stop on those beaches and play in the water, and you stop at the good taco shops, and you stop at we try and pre-run for a week, and it's amazing. Or when Jess and I'd run Nora, we'd always take a week coming home and the rooftop tent, and you just stop at this beach and stay, and stop at this one, and stop at that one, and stop at the missions. And that's the part that everybody needs to see, and that's something we were actually working on with HIRoAD. Is there's a few people doing it. Kurt LeDuc's doing a really good one. They're doing some mission tours and different things, but we were going to do one with Polaris and with Razors and take tours and take people down and show them the really neat parts of Mexico that you don't see when you go on vacation.
Right.
Cabo's not Mexico. That's not Baja.
No, I agree. And there's always people who are happy to think of that as Mexico. All inclusive, I think, is a term.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
That's the worst part. I agree.
A lot of people are scared of Mexico.
Well, that's true. Although you've done pretty well. You're still here.
I've had a couple issues down there, but I've had a couple issues in the States, too.
That's right. I agree.
Shit happens here every day.
Right.
You just got to be smart about it. And the one major issue I had, I was not being smart about it. It was my fault. I disobeyed all the rules that we know, and I got too comfortable down there. I crossed the border in the middle of the night by myself because I was late, and I had truck and trailer, and it's my own fault.
They popped you.
Oh, yeah, they got me pretty good. They got me really good. They pulled me over for running a stop sign, which you know is bullshit, and it always is. And they walked up there, and you never get out of the truck. That's a general rule. They'll ask for cash, and you hold up your credit card and say, take me to the judge. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, okay, he gets it, and they'll let you go.
Okay.
Because they're not going to take you to the actual judge because they want cash.
Right. They want the cash.
And most of the time, you don't even stop. You just keep going until you get to better alleys. You don't stop for the locals, and they go on.
Right.
They'll follow you through ways to quit. But I pulled over, which normally wouldn't do, and I didn't get out. I played the game with the credit card and yeah, take me to the judge. I'll pay the ticket.
Yeah.
And he gave up and went to walk away. And he says, you might check your strap on that trailer on the back corner. It's coming loose. And he got me. I just crossed the border. I just checked my straps. I knew everything was good. And I jumped out to go check my strap. And before I knew it, I was in cuffs and they were shaking down my truck and took all my cash and my stuff. And it was my fault.
Well, there are definitely rules.
There are. You just got to be smart. I mean, I wasn't because I was complacent because I've spent so much time there.
This was just a few years ago.
Just 3 years ago, I think. Crossing for I think it was the 1,000, might have been 500, but yeah, it was right there in Tijuana, right over the border.
And you run the 500 as well?
Yeah.
You'll run. Wow.
Yeah, and we run the Nora 1000 every year too.
It is a bit above and beyond. I apologize for all you listeners out there how fascinated I get with all the cool. I'm quite the admirer of Terry, as I've learned to be, as Jessi always spoke so highly of him and the cool things he has done or do. And coincidentally, we happen to be the same age, believe it or not.
What?
42?
Yep.
42. Can we say our age? We can say 42.
Unfortunately. I'm starting to feel it.
Yeah, well, me too.
Shit.
Although I've got a few pounds on you these days. You've lost a few pounds lately.
Yeah, this still kind of hit me before I realized it was hitting me. I had good friends around me after Jess's accident, and everybody kept telling me, you need to eat, and I kept saying, I'm not hungry, and it was probably 6 weeks that I didn't stop to even pay attention to eat. Next thing I knew, I'd lost 15 pounds and didn't feel good. And I'm attempting to work out and get back in shape. I'm kind of dreading Baja now because I'm as out of shape as I've been in years.
Well, that's right around the corner.
And it's in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I need to express my thanks to you for sitting down with me for this.
Oh, no problem.
Just a couple weeks away. SEMA's this week.
I'm leaving tomorrow. By noon is my goal.
Wow. Up in Vegas.
Yep. Yeah, we got Off-Road Hall of Fame tomorrow night. I need to be there for that, and then we set up Monday.
Wow. That keeps you as a pretty busy man.
We always stay pretty busy. Some of this stuff I actually kind of turned down and quit on for a while about a month ago, and crawled in my little hole and shut down, and had good friends that drug me out of it, and now I've been trying to stay busy. It's doing me more good. I'm healthier, trying to get back to doing what I was doing. And I know that's what she'd want. She'd be pissed off at me if I just sat at home and cried. I mean, I'm still doing my share of that, but I'm doing the stuff we would have done anyway. If it was on our calendar, I'm trying to do it.
I can't imagine there's really any of us, especially listening, who didn't sit at home and cry a bit.
She touched a lot of people.
She touched a lot of people.
She truly did. I don't think she knew her reach. She was so humble and magic, and she just was her. She wasn't doing anything special. She was just being her. She just was special herself.
So it's probably 5 or 6 years ago. I told Terry a little bit ago, I'd tell him this story. 5 or 6 years ago, I'm sitting in this bar. It's late. We're in Ventura. F-Bomb kind of drugged me to this David Mann show. And he goes, hey, you got to meet these guys. This is Charlie. This is Kayla. Oh, nice to meet you.
I love Charlie and Kayla.
Oh, man. What a treat to sit and meet them and chat with them. And we've gotten to be really good friends. And yes, I'm talking about the Charlie who kicked my ass in the last chopper race we did.
I'm going to get in on that one.
You should. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's going to happen these days. I've already been threatening Charlie.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good. I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I get this tap on my shoulder, and I look up, and there's this cute young blonde looking at me, and she just starts talking to me. And I went, am I sitting in your seat or something? She goes, no, I wanted to meet you. And I went, I look around, why would she want to meet me? You know? And she goes, well, you have land speed patches on. You're a land speed racer. I'm a land speed racer. Oh, sure. Hi. Well, I'm Bob. She's like, well, I'm Jessi. Nice to meet you. And, boy, we talked land speed for about, I bet you she sat there for 10 minutes and listened to me talk about my land speed racing. Oh, maybe it was 2. And then she said North American Eagle. And of course, I was a huge fan of this. Is, you know, they're just starting to get that going. So then it finally occurred to me who she was. And I was able to put together in my mind, oh, you're that Jessi Combs. So it was really sweet. And I think Instagram was still kind of a new thing then, so I went to follow her. And I had never seen so many people following someone on, I didn't know the number could go, I didn't know there were that many people on Instagram. So that is how I got to meet Jessi Combs. I thought, why is this cute blonde? She just wanted to talk to another land speed racer. It's a bar, everyone's talking choppers, and you know, she just wanted to talk land speed racing for a minute. That was really great. She's very complimentary, and I'd run into her every 6 months, every year, you know, whatever. I'd message her about something. She'd message me about something. I hope you kick Charlie's butt. I don't think you will, but good luck in that, you know, in the race. I remember that was one of the last. Oh, the other one was, I said, well, Charlie kicked my butt because he used a condom catheter, and I had to stop and use the restroom like a moron.
I'm sorry.
You talked him into it.
Yeah,
of course.
That might have been me.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, we had that talk, and I sent him the information for race catheters that we run in the truck.
It worked.
Yeah.
It
pretty
really
funny
worked.
because he was like so apprehensive about it. He's like, "Are you sure? How do you?" He got two, so he can test one. And I'm like, "Charlie, it's not a big deal. It's a condom with a hose on it. It's no big deal. It's perfect."
Oh, that's great. The best part is he gave me the other one.
Did he?
And of course I looked at it and I went, this is way too small. It's never going to work. He's like, fuck you. It'll be fine.
No, they're the best.
Yeah.
They are the best. Even after a race, I'll leave mine on just to go stand around the fire and hang out. 'Cause,
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I've got buddies that race that wear them to concerts and stuff.
You get used to them. Well, that's what I had told her. I said, Charlie won because of this condom catheter. Then I went, wait a minute. So how would you do that as a female? And she sent me this long explanation.
There is actually a she-we
right
in my cup holder in my truck right now that's been riding around in there. She ordered several different options, and she'd been exploring and experimenting, and one of her deals was trying to build a off-road female catheter that she could market because she was so frustrated with
and
the options, and there's not a good option. But
no.
She was working on it, so I know I have a inner working of female catheters that few people probably have. Or probably even want.
The problems.
That was one of her projects we were working on.
Well, I know Annette and the girls, they all use the Shiwis. They really like it.
It's funny.
I got Annette a whole bunch a while back. Anyway, she hands them out as presents.
Yeah.
It's a good alternative. I don't pretend to know. Our hardware our software is different, but I give her a lot of credit. But she'd go out racing and make it all happen regardless.
She was solid. She's one of the guys wherever you went. She was actually way less maintenance and drama than most of the guys we raced with. You didn't know you had a female along. That's something she actually changed my aspect on a lot. There's a perception there of what females are, and a lot of them I had hung out with were a pain in the ass when you go do different things. But the group of females that Jessi hung out with, the solid, strong-minded, there is so many amazing women in this industry that are doing so many amazing things. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. I'd put them up against any group of guys I know.
I agree.
It's crazy how they surrounded themselves with each other, though. You meet one, you meet them all. They all know each other.
Oh, yeah. They're in cahoots. There's there's no getting around it. I think it's very refreshing. I know people have made fun of me lately. Bob, you seem to hang out with a bunch of girls. Well, that's because the girls are the only cool ones out getting them to do stuff. All you guys are...
I've been hanging out with way more girls lately than guys. And her group of friends are solid. They're good people.
Yeah.
And they've all been there for me. Hell, they drugged me to Babes Right Out this year.
Let's talk. You're one of the few men at Babes Right Out. We got to explore this. This is either a dream come true or a nightmare come to fruition.
Different time in life, it could have been a dream come true.
Right, sure.
It was a little awkward walking in there, but then it was amazingly welcoming and comfortable. And a lot of tears, a lot of stories, a lot of hugs. It was special. It was special. I appreciate Ash and one of the girls making it happen. It was a good deal. It was well worthwhile.
Did you get to ride up there? Did you drive? Oh no,
I rode up.
You rode up? I know. You'd given your Sportster. Was that your Sportster Warrior build? They've got your Sportster.
Yeah, that's the War Pig. We built that Ironhead for the Mint.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun. That was a cool little project. But no, I rode my Road King up. I keep threatening to ride that War Pig somewhere. I need to get another set of wheels for it. It's got moose bibs in it, and I'm afraid to ride on it.
Right.
Yeah.
I just keep pulling. Well, that's where I just came from. I went on the Warrior Build ride. It was real nice, actually. John Oakes, who I did the last interview with, he messaged me and said, hey, I got some extra tickets. Would you like a ticket and go on this ride? It's a Brandon Quaid's Harley Davidson, you know. Yeah, heck yeah. Anyways, it was great. Oh, originally I was like, well, I think I can be up there at noon. Then I'm like, oh, I effed up. I forgot. John invited me to this. Anyways, thanks for all your gracious.
No, I wanted to go, and I couldn't pull it off. The guys at Warrior Built are absolutely amazing.
They're amazing.
Nick has put together, actually, I had a tremendous respect for him before. Now I have even more. After working on Jessi's Foundation and realizing the behind the scenes and what it takes to make that stuff happen, I've got even more respect for what Nick's done with Warrior Built than I had before. If you don't know what Warrior Built is, you really need to look it up. It's rehabilitation for veterans, and it's through activities that are fun. I mean, they bring guys in the shop, and they bring guys in like me that have experiences with it, and we build motorcycles, we build off-road. I've been helping them with some of the Baja stuff, and they've been helping me with some of my personal stuff, and it works both ways, but it gets guys into an environment in the shop where they can be around guys and talk as guys and work out their problems, but also accomplish cool things, and it's just a really impressive group of people and foundation.
I'm a big fan. And I got turned on to it by Alan, and I haven't gotten to do any direct reference. Oh, he's a hell of a makerspace, Riverside. Clink and Coke and Clinkers. Yep. He does all sorts of. Yep. That's another man who's very busy running around.
I was just showing off one of his knives this morning that he gifted me, one of his railroad spike knives. It's really neat.
You know what? He's gifted me. I'm not sure the man sells anything. He gifts everything to all his friends.
I talked to him about that at 1-3. He's like, okay. Man, I'm not making money. I said, you got to quit giving shit away.
That's right. I remember that. I was there for that conversation. And Jessi walked up to me and said, how much? You know what I do, Bob? I just tell them everything's $20. $20. Everything's $20 in the booth. That way she doesn't have to worry about what anything costs.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty funny. Well, your son just came back.
Yeah, they're pretty well grown. I'm pretty proud of them. I've got 3 kids. Dalton's, we'll start with Tanner. He's 22, lives in Colorado Springs. Pretty well got his life on track.
Nice.
Really great girlfriend. Jess and I used to go out there spend quite a bit of time with him when we go through.
Colo Springs? Sorry. All the signs say Colo Springs. Colorado Springs. Boy, it's pretty there.
And Chloe's in pre-med at KU. She's doing really well. And then Dalton's here doing his senior year. So not sure what he's going to do next. He's not exactly the college kid. So see what his plans are.
He could always get into racing.
I've tried. He's not that interested in it.
Yeah.
He comes and helps.
Sure.
I tried putting him in a razor for hammers this year. I'm still kind of pushing him, trying to get him in one. He acts interested in the pavement. We were working on some of that, but he just doesn't seem to have any interest in the dirt, and obviously that's where I have the easy end for him.
Yeah, that is exciting how kids like to take their parents' passions and twist it. I was a classically trained musician, for lack of a better term, vocal. I play guitar, mandolin. My son's playing the drums, rocking marching band, head of his marching section. Wants nothing to do with stringed instruments, just wants to bang on drums. And he's really good. My son, he's 13 now, crew chief. But it's almost turned into like, son, we got to do the yard. Okay. Son, we're going to go racing. Okay.
Yep, that's just I tell Dalton that all the time. I'm just like, come on, kid. You can't. I can't get him excited about hardly anything. And the opportunities he has, I'm like, man, I'd have killed for this stuff when I was a kid. I was trying to drag him to SEMA next week. I'm like, just come to SEMA for a couple days. Nah,
Vegas.
I don't really want to. I said, I've got the Ford versus Ferrari screening coming up next Friday night in L.A. I said, son, I got an extra deal. Come with me to that. Nah, I don't think I'm going to bother. What?
That's great. The funny thing is, our parents probably talked the same way about us when we were kids. You know?
I'd love to go do that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just not into the same things I'm into. So.
And that's okay. You know, he's going to grow up and be productive and make lots of money and find his own way and find his own happiness.
He's got drive. He'll be fine. We're just not into the same stuff.
It was nice to meet him and hang out with him the other day at the Peterson. That was cool of the Peterson to extend that as well. Yeah, you see the Jessi Combs Foundation moving forward with everything.
That's been a real struggle. I did not realize that would be so complicated. the foundation will go forward and it will do good things, but it is a lot more work than I knew it was going to be a lot of work, but it is a lot more red tape than I'd anticipated.
Sure.
So we're getting there. We've got a great team. It just takes time, and I'm not patient. We are only a couple months in, but I'm still not patient. So it's got a lot of traction. We've got some really neat big builds and different stuff coming up that should bring in good funding and should get to start to do some of the things that I really want to do in her name and do for her that she was going to do anyway. So
it's pretty good.
The goal is to make it sustainable, though. Scalable and sustainable. I don't want something that is going to, you don't want to raise some money and do some scholarships and then have it disappear. I want something that outlives me, that outlives all of us, that is truly here for a long time.
It seems extremely appropriate given who Jessi Combs was.
It needs to. And that was one of her dreams, was to build something that was bigger than she was. And that's what we were working on with HIRoAD. And we were actually doing HIRoAD, which is our new venture here, or my new venture now. We didn't have it formed yet, but I do now. And we were doing the HIRoAD Foundation, which we were going to do all of our stuff with. So we just talked about it for hours and days and nights and knew who we wanted on the board and how we wanted to do it and what we wanted to benefit. And it was things we were going to do together.
Right.
But it made this easier for me because basically I brought in those board members and those people and told them what our plan was. And then instead of naming it the HIRoAD Foundation, we named it the Jessi Combs Foundation. So this is her plans we were going to do together. We're just not getting to do it together.
You're killing it, my friend. You're doing well.
I'm trying. I don't feel like that every day. It's a struggle. I have my good days and my bad. I do have the most amazing group of friends and support, though, that anybody could ever ask for. I really do.
Well, with all due respect, it's probably because you deserve it. That's my opinion.
I appreciate that. I do feel really humbled and lucky to have them, though. Because she had amazing friends. I had amazing friends. And you put them together, I'm really lucky. I have one hell of a support system, and I know that. In all industry.
And I think people forget that. I know, if I can get a little personal, I know a few times I've been extremely frustrated, whether it be from other land speed racers, people in the general public, people who knew Jessi and I got to chat a little bit. I've been a little disappointed in people and their inappropriate comments regarding Jessi's passing.
There's a couple of them I got pretty upset about. I got pulled down that rabbit hole once or twice. The old me would have got pulled down it every day. That's something I learned from Jessi. We'd sit around a lot of evenings and not watch TV. We would go through her private messages. Sure. And there was the amazing ones where this is my daughter and this is my little girl and this is what I taught her to do and here's the pictures, and they're just unreal. We'd sit around and cry at some of them. And then there's the I'm 40 years old and you inspired me to do this and I quit my job and I'm going to do this, and they're amazing. Amazing. And then there's the douchebag bashing her that I wanted to comment back to, and she always take the high road. That's part of where I always take the high road came from. And she'd delete it or nicely respond, and she was always above it. And when all this went down and I started getting a lot of those shitty comments and the jabs and the pokes and it must be nice to, people, a lot of people don't know who I am. A lot of people don't know that I was in this industry just as long as Jessi. I gave Jessi as many of my sponsors as she gave me hers. We helped each other beneficially. I was writing a lot of her contracts. I was helping her with a lot of her stuff. We were mutually working together for a common goal. And when we joined forces, we were better than each of us were individually.
Sure.
There's no doubt. But I got a lot of criticism right off the bat because all of a sudden a lot of people that didn't know who I was, oh, you're benefiting off this. No, I'd give anything in the world to have her back. I'm not benefiting off shit. I'm miserable. But I am going on with my life I was already doing. And there are a few new opportunities because of this. And that sucks. But she would want me to take them and go forward because some of them I'm going to do solely to benefit this foundation. So, on that note, yes, I'm getting some of the negative comments. And yes, I got sucked in on a couple of them and said things I shouldn't have said. But for the most part, I hear her in my head telling me to take the high road. And I ignore them and I let them go. And there's a thing called karma out there. It'll come back around. And I'm going to continue to do what I believe she would want me to do. I've been pretty much living off that guiding principle of, I know she's watching me every minute, every day. And I've had disagreements with a lot of people over how to structure things, do things, go forward with things. And I have just solely based it on, would she be okay with this? Yeah, she'd be okay with it. I don't really give a shit what they think.
Amen.
And that's it. Period. I'm not here to please other people. I love taking care of other people that I care about. But I'm going to do what I feel is right by her and what's right by me. And that's going to make waves along the way. And I'm strong enough to deal with that. So,
I agree. Good for you. And I think you're right in all that. I think you're very right.
I'm trying. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to make a lot of them. This is not something I've done before.
Well, with all due respect, this isn't something anyone should have to ever do, my friend.
But it is something I was remotely prepared for. Not that I wanted to be, but Jess and I discussed all this a lot more than any couple should discuss it. But I know exactly how she wanted things done because she told me. We know that we both live dumb lives. We both take risks that the normal person should not take. We had no expectation of getting old together. We just thought we had a lot more time than this. But we discussed this. We discussed this that afternoon of, this is what I want you to do if something happens to me. We talked about those things. I never thought I'd have to actually follow through with it. So I do have a understanding, although this was totally sudden, it's not something that we didn't realize was a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, because we all kind of live faster than usual lives.
I've had a retarded amount of close calls. She'd had a retarded amount of close calls. We had some close calls together that were dumb. We had one on our Sturgis trip 2 years ago that we both pulled over and sit there and shook for a little bit and we're like, holy hell. I don't know where we were in Canada. We'd actually flipped a coin at a gas station and just trying to decide, we were supposed to be in Sturgis and she had to go hand off the Grand Marshal deal to Roland. And we talked to this guy at a gas station that told us about these hot springs in Canada. And she's like, I want to go to the hot springs. I said, we don't have time. We got to go to Sturgis. She's like, but we could go for one day. I'm like, okay, but if we don't make it, this is on you. It's your obligation. I don't have to be anywhere.
Right.
So we flip a coin and we head to Canada. And it was the most unreal trip ever. Windy roads, middle of the night. Her and I used to ride so hard side by side because we rode that was an 8,000 mile trip. We rode so many miles beside each other that I just knew where she was. And we'd be inches apart in the curves at 100 mile an hour. And it was and we'd come around this curve, middle of the night, 100 mile an hour, and there's damn deer dead center in the road.
Oh, damn it.
And I pushed towards her to push out, and she was pushing out, and we're touching. We're together on our bikes, touching. And I'm kind of almost reaching for her. And
right.
I missed the deer. My bag catches it. I could have slapped it on the ass. And we're together, and we go another couple miles, and we pull over, and we're both white and look at each other, and we're like, holy shit.
How the hell did we make it out of that?
But we had all those close calls, and we had them together, and it was fun, and it was great. And that night we ended up at those hot springs, and the next morning she ended up calling in, FaceTiming the handover of her Grand Marshal deal to Roland, and we stayed in Canada for 2 more days. It was amazing.
Ever wonder what happened to the music they used to play on the radio? It's now available and virtually commercial-free for your ride. Dirty Radio FM. Get the app today and enjoy it streaming, or download songs to your heart's content. Dirty Radio FM is free and the best way to enjoy music, through a Sena like Bob or with earbuds while you're on the road. Dirty Radio FM. Get the app today.
It's still pretty surreal a lot of days. I truly can't believe that I get paid to go do what I get to do. And it is one hell of a lot of work, and that's what other people don't realize. You get the, must be nice. Yeah, sometimes it's nice being in the shop till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, to leave at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
There's a lot more work to it than there is fun, but it is still pretty surreal and enjoyable at the same time. You kind of got to be careful what you wish for sometimes, because it's all I ever dreamed of was getting to do this racing. And then you get to do it at a different level, and then all of a sudden when people are paying you, there's expectations, and then it's not as fun. Sometimes I miss just wreck wheeling with my friends.
Yeah.
There's different pressures when all of a sudden there's people watching, and it's not just out playing anymore.
Well, you definitely have some awesome vehicles. I don't even understand half of all the cool stuff going on, coming from motorcycles like I do.
It wouldn't even be possible without the support. There's no way. The level that this has come to in the last few years, and the dollars it takes, is just
it's huge.
It's unbelievable. It's not the same ball game it was 5 years ago. Not even remotely. And luckily, I have some amazing marketing partners that help with my stuff and help the teams I race with. It wouldn't happen without them.
Jessi and yourself had a good time with it.
It was pretty cool. It was pretty neat that we could both be doing it. That we could share those talks and those experiences and those, to have that like-mindedness where we could talk about what's like in this part of Baja and what's like at this part of riding and this part, both in the motorcycle industry and the off-road industry, and have all that in common. A lot of relationships don't have that in common and know what it's like to run the San Felipe whoops in a trophy truck, or like to go ride that. It's to have all that in common was really neat. I spent a lot of time helping her with her stuff, and she spent a ton of time helping me with mine. It's hard to go along when you're not the one racing. And this year she did the 1,000 and did Nora and did the Mint, just in the chase truck and helping to support me.
Oh, wow.
And I went and helped her and supported her on her stuff. And she was always there. She was a solid support.
American Roadrunner brings you a Roadrunner in the Headlight.
This show's Roadrunner Headlight is on. One Miss Candace. You'll know her from the gram as Miss Candio. That's Candeeo. She is an extremely talented tattoo artist who happens to enjoy riding the hell out of her Harley at the same time. You'll catch Candace at a lot of shows, doing tattoos for people, working long hours, and expressing her talent and artwork and all her awesomeness. We are all big fans of hers. She's also founder. You will see it pronounced as Moto. However, it spells out as Mouse Taus. That is MAUS_TAUS, but pronounced Moto. I suspect it may not be English. Regardless, Candace, you do good work. We're big fans of yours. Thanks for all that you do. Candace was the one who got to do some great work on Jessi a few years back at a Babes Ride Out, and also got to do the work of the story you're about to hear of Terry's Babe Ride Out tattoo. Thanks for all your awesomeness. Thanks for sharing all your talents. Headlights on you, darling.
Let's get back to the road with Bob Marshall and the American Roadrunner podcast.
Yeah, Babes Ride Out was a little odd.
How so?
It was tough to go see everybody and be in that world where I didn't really actually belong, but be so welcomed at the same time.
I could imagine everyone was pretty...
Everybody was amazing.
Yeah, everyone was pretty welcoming. They were pretty excited
It
to
was really amazing.
see you and hear from you.
I got a damn Babes Right Out tattoo.
No, you didn't. Who did that?
On my ankle, of all places.
Great. Oh, my God.
Because that's where Jessi always got them. I was like, oh, what the hell?
That's great. I mean, I've got a few of the patches. And that's always a joke, the ladies will get tattoos and I'll get patches.
Yeah, exactly.
Let them enjoy their tattoos.
No, I thought, what the hell? Why not?
Looks good. Looks really good.
Let's go to the corner. It's time to talk tech.
Welcome to this show's Tech Corner. Today is all about cold weather riding. Yes, it is a month of November. So, for some of us up in the north, that means we are putting our scoot up for a long winter's nap. Running stabilizer through the fuel system with a full tank of fuel, hooking up the batteries to a tender. Making sure your antifreeze is just that and won't freeze, and the favorite, jacking the scoot up off the ground so the rubber stays round. Now please know, us here in sunny Southern California do not have to do any of this. For us, it's just a matter of putting all the gear on and making sure we have all the gear with us all the time. So personally, I like to make sure all my gear is in good order, and I like to make sure it's all going to fit right over my normal riding clothing. So I'm going to be getting my big black insulated suit out of storage, as well as my yellow Deadliest Catch rain slicks, and putting them over everything and lounging around the house to make sure nothing is binding in weird places. I will make sure my gear is with me all the time with some rope and bungee nets, and get out there and enjoy the road, even if it's a few degrees cooler than I'm comfortable with. Yes, I have gotten stuck in the snow before, so I got to take about 10 pounds of air out of my tires and do my best not to lean. I hope not to repeat that again. Above all, make sure you ride your ride, my fellows, and try not to freeze your keisters off. Hyperthermia is real, and it will come on as little as a few minutes on a scoot out in the wind if you don't have your gear to insulate you. Always bring your gear, always have it on, or always have it sitting on the back of the scoot ready to go, because you just never know what your plans or what the weather will bring. This has been your Tech Corner.
And now back to our regularly scheduled ride.
513?
She did 5:15 that morning, 5:48 on that run, documented before the accident. Her average is 5:30 something, I don't remember specifically.
Submitted it to Guinness.
Yes.
My favorite term for it is tenacity. Amelia Earhart, she had tenacity. Jessi Combs, she had tenacity. I could probably list 100 others. But these are the people that inspire us. She inspired me for a long time. Go fast, get out and have fun.
She didn't even realize how many people she inspired. She was just being her. She had a drive that I don't even know how to explain. She was her worst critic, though. She was awful hard on herself. She was so perfect just the way she was, and she still strived to be better every day. It sucks. It really sucks she's gone so quick because, the amount of amazing shit she packed into her life is not even imaginable, but I can't help but think what she'd accomplish in another 10 years. She's damn sure going places. Damn sure going to change the world even more than she did. That's a lot of my motivation with this foundation. There's unfinished business. There's things that she was going to do that have to be done. That helps me. Because fuck, I miss her. And it's a way to stay tied to her. I'm gonna fucking do good things with this. Watch me. Because if I don't accomplish something out of this, then it didn't happen for a reason. And I have to make this worthwhile. There has to be some purpose to this, because she's not gone for no reason. I can't let that happen. I won't let that happen. So
we're certainly all going to miss her. We all miss her. I wish there was a way to express my thanks for all you push forward for Jessi Combs Foundation in memory of her. Because it's going to mean a lot to the little people like my son, all the young women.
it's already making a difference, and it's crazy. And I'm making a difference, which is really weird for me to say. It is weird for me to say that, because her and I sat around and would look at her messages, like I said earlier. Yeah. And you'd read, hey, you inspired me to do this. Hey, you inspired me to do this. And I'm getting thousands of messages. And the majority of them for the first part of this was, this is the story about Jessi. This is the story about Jessi. This is the story about Jessi. How or why or what, when it transitioned, I don't know. I don't understand. I was just putting out stuff there that I was feeling. I wasn't doing anything but being me. And at some point it transitioned where there was more and more and more that weren't about Jessi. They were, thank you for doing this. You're inspiring me to do this, and you're doing this. And I keep saying, no, I'm not. I'm just being me. I'm not doing anything any different. But I've actually come to the realization recently that whatever the hell it is I'm doing, it is actually making a difference to people. And as much as I dislike the public eye and dislike stuff, I feel like I have to go forward with this because it is actually doing good for other people, and maybe that's part of my purpose through this. So it's a little surreal to get those to sit around the evenings now and read the same messages that her and I used to read to her, except they're to me, and I don't know what point that transition was, that, hey, look at this picture of my daughter doing this, and thank you for doing what you're doing. That's kind of crazy.
I can only imagine.
Because I don't feel like I deserve it at all. At all.
Well, I mean, we could argue, thumb wrestle, box it out, but I think you do.
I'll race you for it.
I'm going to lose again, damn it. Something about a condom catheter, I'm sure. I think there's a lot, too, to be thanked from you for your photos that you've been sharing on social media and your writing that you've gotten to share, that you've blessed us with in sharing.
And those were for nobody but me.
That's the best part.
I couldn't sleep at night, and I'd be sitting thinking about her, and it just, I don't know, it felt right to write it down. And I wrote a lot of things down I didn't share because I had some amazing notes in my phone. It helped me go to sleep. And I shared, I don't know, weeks worth of them before I ever read a comment. It was just for me. And then I started reading some of the comments, and I was like, wow, this is actually affecting people. This isn't just for me. It was weird. Because I started that, remember this time, selfishly for me. It had nothing to do with helping anybody else.
No,
nothing to do with helping anybody else.
I wrote a whole book under her. I completely understand, sir.
But now I realize that it did, and it is and does, and that's
far above and beyond.
It's surreal. So I don't know if I'm doing right or wrong. I'm trying to do what I think she would want and what she would be okay with me doing if she's watching. And that's all I got to go by.
It's pretty good. Well, I certainly thank you. Because it is wonderful as one of the many people she touched, she inspired, she conversated with, she treated like an equal. There was nothing equal I know her and I were doing, but she always treated me like an equal. And I promise you, there's 10,000 other people who could say that. She was just absolutely that.
Well, she treated everybody that way because we are all equal.
Yeah.
None of us are any better than anybody else. We may have different experiences.
Amen.
But it's the ones that think they're better that don't deserve to be equal. And just treat everybody the same and give everybody the fair shake and gave everybody a second chance and a third chance. She saw good in people first. And then, I mean, she had her share that she wrote off. I definitely know which ones they are. But she was, even at that level, she was still respectful about it. I learned a lot from her in that aspect. And it was because of that side of her that we were together. I wasn't perfect in all of our relationship. And I learned a lot from her, and I learned a lot about myself, and a far better person now than I was before. Because she gave me those second chances.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wish I could express to the listener. We're sitting here in a shop. All the sound equipment's like sitting on tires. We're sitting in chairs, but we're amongst these monster tires. And there's Terry across from me, and right over your shoulder is that great picture on that door of Jessi.
I just realized what's behind me, what you've been looking at all the time.
It was pretty.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite pictures of her.
It's a good one. Jessi the Riveter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, her muscles might be bigger than mine. I'm a little intimidated now that I'm looking at it.
She did have some arms on her.
Yeah. The future is bright. Different.
The future is bright. I am truly excited about things. I really am. I'm going to do good things. It's just not the same doing it without her. I'm very excited about HIRoAD. I'm very excited about the projects we're doing. But when it gets me is when I have a super day and I want to text her, hey babe, got this accomplished, and I'll have her to text. That's when it really sucks. Because I was successful before Jessi. I'll be successful after Jessi. I can't accomplish these things, but it is not the same without having her to share it with. It's just not the same. And that sucks because she was my biggest supporter. And I was her biggest fan. She was my biggest fan. It was amazing. And that's the worst part of it. It's just not having her here to share the good and the bad with. You know, in a bad day, she was there for me. So.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know SEMA's
tomorrow. Yeah, I gotta pull a motor yet tonight.
Yeah, there's like parts everywhere, motors, body panels maybe not so. A few of them are complete in one piece. But tires, I just can't believe all the tires.
Yeah, and this is a fraction of them.
I can only imagine. That's very exciting. I think we bored
Cassius, yeah.
Bored Cassius.
He's out.
The dog is out. I'm going to get a picture of that. That's great. Terry, thank you.
Thank you.
Again. Appreciate you.
A good chit-chat on the road with my friend Terry Madden. I'm very grateful I was able to hang out with him, the man who had the attention of my friend Jessi Combs. Terry's going to do great things in the future. I'm very excited to see all that he does with the Jessi Combs Foundation and his new shop, HIRoAD. I'd like to dedicate this show to my dear friend, Jessi Combs, for all she inspired in me and my race team, all she inspired in all of us. She was very great in all she did, all the ways that she did it. No matter what the records end up showing, in my book, Jessi Combs, my dear friend, you will always be the fastest woman in the world. Thank you for all you gave us. This is your host, Bob Marshall.
American Roadrunner. American Roadrunner. American Roadrunner. American Roadrunner. All I want is a machine between my legs and an open highway. Music for the American Roadrunner podcast is brought to you by Meek. The American Roadrunner podcast is an ARR production. Keep up with Bob Marshall and his adventures and stories from the road at AmericanRoadrunnerthebook.com, American Roadrunner on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to check us out on YouTube. We'll see you on the road.